Does your OCD tell you you need to do something to punish yourself because of an intrusive thought or feeling? You're not alone. We're going to talk all about it. Stay tuned. That's what's up next. Hi, my name is Natasha Daniels. I'm a therapist and I make videos to help people with anxiety or OCD. And today I want to talk to you about OCD, and in particular, a type of compulsion that sometimes people don't even recognize as a compulsion, which is self-punishment, as if OCD isn't hard enough. We're going to dive all into that, but before we get started, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified, because I do make new videos every Thursday. Okay, so what is this about self-punishment? A lot of times people will get intrusive thoughts, particularly themes that are around being a good person, like moral OCD themes, worrying that you might be a bad person, that you might harm another person. Those themes in particular tend to have or could have compulsions that are hidden under self-punishment. A lot of times OCD wants you to neutralize something. So it'll give you an upsetting thought, oh my gosh, you're so selfish, or you did something bad, or you had a bad thought. And then it will want to neutralize that. So it'll say, if you had this thought, the way to reduce the uncomfortable feeling or the power of that thought is to do this. Spoiler alert, that's actually a compulsion, right? And so when you do the compulsion, then you feel brief relief because you feel like, okay, it's even now. Like I had that thought and then I did this and now we're good. But even with who, right? We have to look beyond the weeds and say, what is this really about? Sometimes self-punishment can look like a physical thing. It can look like I'm going to pinch myself or bite my tongue or do something that's going to mildly be uncomfortable as kind of like a slap on the hand for having that thought or having that behavior, whatever it may be. Sometimes it's something that you really did do, something that you thought you might have done, or even just a simple thought that you had. Sometimes it's not a physical punishment. Sometimes it's a punishment removing something enjoyable from your life. And so it might say, you can't eat that food, or you can't go to your friend's house, or you can't watch that movie, or you can't do something because that's going to be enjoyable and you don't deserve that. And that's so sad, right? And the more you do that self-punishing behavior, whether it's physical or privilege-based, the more your OCD grows. And so a lot of times OCD can give you this overwhelming feeling of guilt, especially when we're talking about moral or scrupulosity type of OCD issues or harm OCD issues that make you worry about being a bad person or harming someone else or harming yourself. And so just a simple thought that is bad or doing something, a lot of times OCD will have you review things that you've done in the past and then make you feel really guilty about it. And that guilt is a weapon that OCD can use to get you to do those compulsions, to get you to do those self-punishing things. It doesn't make OCD go away. It might make the guilt go away, but long-term it's making your OCD grow, because the more we do what OCD wants, the bigger it grows, the more upsetting feelings we'll have, including guilt and shame and embarrassment and all the things that you were trying to get rid of to begin with. And so, making things even by punishing yourself doesn't do anything to anyone except hurt you and grow OCD. And so it's a win for OCD and a loss for you. And I don't want that to happen to you. And so I always say to people, the first step in really working on your OCD is self-compassion and self-love. And being on your own team, being on your side, not OCD's side, and saying to yourself, I love myself and I am sad that I have to go through this, and I am sad that I have to have these intrusive thoughts, and I'm sad that these things are happening to me, but I am team whatever your name is, right? I am team Jennifer, I am team John, I am team whatever. I'm for me, and I will do things to support me and coach me and cheerlead me and cheer me on. And so when OCD says to me, oh my gosh, you're such a bad person, you're like, I know that's one of my OCD themes and I know who I am. I don't need to debate or argue with OCD, and I definitely do not need to punish myself, because OCD is a punishment already in and of itself, and I definitely don't need to add some the cherry on top to the punishment. It is hard enough to have OCD and to make it even harder by taking away the things that you actually enjoy or physically hurting yourself is just adding to the stress. And you don't need to do that. You have control. You can't control what intrusive thoughts or feelings you have, because we don't get to control what OCD gives us as far as our thoughts or our feelings, but we do get to control what we do with those things. And so the goal of getting rid of the guilty feeling that OCD has caused in you is impossible. And it's counteractive. It doesn't work, because the more you try to get rid of the guilty feeling that OCD is causing you to have, that you don't need to have because it's not valid, the more you try to rationally try to get rid of it by self-punishing, doing something to even it out or whatever, or mentally debating all the different compulsions that OCD will have you do, the more guilty feelings you have. And so the weird way to get through this is to actually learn how to sit with the guilt, learn how to sit with the intrusive thought, learn how to sit with those behaviors that are uncomfortable and not get hooked into them. So when you say to OCD, yep, you brought up a thought or a memory that is really making me feel guilty right now. I feel like a bad person. One, I recognize, okay, this is OCD. Two, I recognize I don't want to get hooked into this. And so I'm recognizing it's OCD. I'm not going to mentally argue or debate with it or do anything to try to get out of this. I'm going to just let it pass. And I get that that is so hard because it's an uncomfortable feeling. But we have to deal with uncomfortable feelings, including the ones that OCD wants to bring to our front door and say, yep, I'm feeling guilty right now. And I'm going to go do something that I enjoy. And so I'm going to go paint, or I'm going to go call my friend, or I'm going to go continue doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to try to fight this feeling of guilt, because the more you try to fight this feeling of discomfort, whatever it is, the bigger it grows. It's counterintuitive. So try some of these things, letting it go by giving yourself some self-love. If you want to do an even bigger exposure or a bigger defense on OCD, do something special for yourself when you have the guilty feeling. Oh, you're having a guilty feeling and OCD is making you sad. Let's go do something extra special for you. Let's do a little extra. Let's give ourselves a little extra bonus. Maybe we, treat ourselves to something, or we get a little extra privilege, or we go above and beyond to take care of ourselves. That would actually be very powerful. And that over time will really squash your OCD. So I hope that you find the sparkle in everything you do. And I hope that you find the self-love and self-compassion that really will push OCD away. And I'll be back again next week for another tip. Take care.